the biggest thing that I see is so many people act like they don't know what they need to do.
Right.
It's like everybody knows what they typically need to do. It's just, are you willing to do it?
Welcome, everybody, to the Not For Nothing podcast, hosted by the dynamic duo Christopher Michael and Ashley Mayland, where they delve into life, love, relationships, and personal growth. Be sure to tune in every week for a refreshing take on life's most important lessons.
So let me ask, just, was there ever a time where you just, like, for you as his wife, did you ever feel like it's just never going to change? Like back in the beginning, did you ever feel like hopeless almost for him? And I'm sorry, I don't mean it in a insulting way.
It's okay, bro.
No, I just mean like I'm just trying to see from your perspective. Was there ever like a moment for you're like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's just, this is not good.
No, because I feel like we have a very, like interesting, maybe like unique relationship. We actually met in middle school. And he actually pursued me since middle school.
Wow.
I said no until
Not
after.
good at quitting.
Yeah.
I can tell.
He's not a quitter. But I actually was like, nope, you were in the friend zone until about senior year of high school. So I kind of like dated a bunch of other people prior to. And so I kind of say all that to say, I really was like in love with him as a like person. There was never like this like physical attraction, I guess. Like at first, like most people are like, oh, I think that girl's hot, or I think that guy's hot, right? And then like there's a thing. Like for us, I feel like we had like just like such a long history, and relationship wise, it was just so strong. And so I never had this like, oh, he's disgusting, which it's like crazy because it's like now I look back and I'll never forget.
She's like, damn.
She's like,
I mean, like, no, it's seriously like he would
She's
like
about to
take his,
dig in.
yeah, like especially when he's doing his bodybuilding prep, because then he had already had his like 2 skin removal
Right.
surgeries, and he would like take off his shirt and get to bed, and I'm like, damn, like who are you? You know, because you like don't even realize, like I guess maybe like what you don't realize.
right.
Like, that was never a thought in my mind. And I know that sounds crazy, but I really do believe that it was just because we had already had such a bonding relationship
Right.
for so many years that never crossed my mind. However, I say that, and we were struggling with our sex life.
Okay.
So I would say, you know, we had like an amazing relationship. But I never, like our entire marriage, like wanted like or initiated like sex.
Right.
And honestly got to a point where like I just was like, I think it's me. I think I'm broken. Like this is just how I'm designed.
Right,
I
right.
just don't know. And so after I had my like suicidal ideations and started working out in the gym, I was like, okay, I feel like, because he had already kind of had like a physique change.
Right.
And obviously anytime you're severely overweight, then you work on healthy habits.
Right.
Everything in your body is going to be working better, but it does increase your sex drive, right? Just naturally. And so here I was like back at the gym, drinking the water. I was tracking my food, decreasing the amount of like processed sugar that I was having, because I really equated that to my mental health, and doing all the things. And I was like, I still had like 0 sex drive. And so we finally had like a hard conversation, and
Okay.
a lot of our marriage is hard conversations. You
Right.
already heard the first one of the suicidal ideations, but
Mhm.
there was a conversation at one point, and he basically just kind of said like, listen, we have 2 kids. We've been married for a very long time. I love you. This is something I need. Like, I need you to work. I need you to figure this out.
Right.
Like, I need you to, you know, like work, fix this. And so I went seeking. I went to my OBGYN. We tried every like over the counter horny goat weed that you can think of, right? Any like supplement. I know it sounds crazy. Just like trying and seeking. And basically my OBGYN was like, more foreplay loop. Like, that's what you do.
Right.
And I was like, well, great. That's not very helpful, because that's what we've been doing for the last, you know,
Right.
so many years, and that's not working. And so at that point, he was probably 33, 34. He had been getting his hormone levels checked and had been going to a testosterone clinic.
Okay.
And it was a local place. I'm not going to say it was, but it was more like male based kind of. So I just was like, man, I just don't think it's somewhere that I want to go and be like, yes. So,
Right.
Because they're just going to be like, yeah, you should just get on some testosterone. So I like kind of sought out where I should go and sought, just getting my hormones checked. And that honestly was a life-changing moment for me.
Okay.
At the point I was 34 and my testosterone was 17. I had already put on a good amount of muscle, and really was like in really good shape. And even the physician was like, wow, your lab work, like you're 34, but your metabolic age is 21. Like everything looks great. Like, I don't know that you totally need it. Like you're kind of within normals, but you're not optimized. And I was like, no, you don't understand. Like my marriage is on the line here.
Like I need it.
Like I need to try something. And so I tried various, kind of forms of testosterone and, come like December of this past year, life-changing. It drastically changed my sex drive. It was like a light bulb went off. And
I was trying to find that switch for
Yes,
years.
right.
Just like finally found the right one. I was like stumbling in the garage. I was like, oh, I got it. Clicked on.
But so not to like share our sex life, but like literally we would go from like weeks.
Right.
And why is it the men, like, they can keep up? Like, they can't remember what we're doing tomorrow, like, for the kids' schedule, but they can remember the last time they had sex
for sure.
to the day, right?
Absolutely.
We would be in bed, right? And he'd be like, it's been blah,
You
blah,
make
blah,
it,
blah,
hold
blah.
on. I have to defend our relationship because you make it sound so bad.
No, it wasn't
we would
bad.
have sex like once a week. So we
would.
weren't at a point where it was like months or anything like that. Like probably the longest we ever went was when you birth children, which you physically can't. So even in 12 years of marriage, I think the longest we would ever go would be like once a week or maybe like once every 10 days. So you weren't that bad. You're making yourself seem like you were this horrible person.
I thought you were about to tell me you went a year.
But I also never wanted it. You know what I mean? So it was just like,
it was once a week, but it was like a hey,
right.
Come on now, it's been a week.
Right. You had to encourage it.
So then that went to every day.
Now I'm like, hey, you gotta slow down here. I'm tired.
You're like, get the fuck away from me.
Give me a break.
So we've like entered
now I know how you felt.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So, but I say that, and so now I've shared my story many times with women, and I always thought I was just like one off, like literally thought I was just like, wow, I'm just this alien. No one's like me. Why was I not? I felt like we were made for each other. And like you talked about, like, and I'm like, why was I not made for this? And there's so many women that have that same story. And now we talk to so many couples and they have that exact same story. They feel like they're not getting served or being able to be, like validated from their doctor. Oh, just, more foreplay and lube. And well, it's because you're a mom and you have kids and you're tired and you're working. And it's like, no, that's not how we should feel.
Right. Absolutely.
And so hormone optimization has been life-changing. So long answer to your question of, was there ever a moment? No, there was even more moments that, really were questioning our marriage, but there was never a physicality point for me. However, now I'm like, God damn. So yeah.
We're gonna have to wrap this podcast.
Yeah.
But no, that's great. And I asked you that question because I think today we live in a society where people just give up on each other too much and don't build a bond like the two of you have. And not to say that nobody has. Obviously, there's a lot of successful marriages out there, but not like there used to be, right? So it's nice to know and for people to hear that when someone's going through something like that with the person that they love, that they're not even thinking about leaving them, right? Or having that, I'm not sure if this is going to work between us moment because you love each other, right? And you were there for each other at bad times. You didn't tap out on each other because you couldn't handle the stress. You supported each other. Yeah. And that's what people don't do today.
For sure. There's something you used to say this to me a lot when I was like getting in really good shape. She would always say like, it's so weird to see you like this now because that's how I always saw you. Like I always saw you like this. Now it just kind of matches what I always saw in my head.
Right.
I never saw him as that. And like whenever you're like about to get married and things like that. People were like, do you feel like you're settling? And I'm like, no, like, oh my gosh, why would you ever say that? You know? Because I just had this envision, like, to me, yeah, he matches the body that was inside of my head.
That's great.
And in fairness, when we got married, I was probably like, I was pretty small.
Yes.
So, you know.
Yeah, you said you were in good shape before you got married.
Yeah, I was never in like great shape, but I would, if you saw our wedding photos, you wouldn't look at me and be like, oh, he was fat. Like I just look like a normal average.
Right. How tall are you, by the way? Just
6'2".
6'2". Okay.
Yeah.
So did 350 look bad on you at 6'2" though? Like, was it like?
Did you see the photos?
Oh yeah, I did. You're right. Actually,
like,
yeah.
Like, I think that's how we're here. Is you saw the photos and you're like, cool transformation.
It wasn't a great look.
So I always feel like photos don't do you justice when you're overweight, right?
I mean, the comment section said those were some nice mommy milkers. So
that I didn't see though.
I mean,
the comments.
I think there's like that one video. I think has like 30,000 comments. It's worth scrolling through. So some of them are pretty funny.
You know, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes comments piss me off, like depending on like. So I'll be honest, depending on the type of video that it is, I'll stay away from comment sections because
some of them are good though. I've enjoyed a lot of the hatred.
Have you?
Yeah. I'm kind of weird like that.
It's a sick part about him.
It's like, you know what it is? I think it's just that I have a tendency to dig in sometimes. Yeah. So I just try to keep myself out of the situation at times. Like for example, we did a podcast episode recently with her name is Sarah, and she was a domestic abuse survivor. And dude, did you happen to see the
I think I saw
clips?
clips of it. Yes. She had blonde hair.
Yeah, you'd be ashamed to be a man.
Wow.
Yeah. It's fucking unbelievable. Wow. Excuse my language, but it's outrageous. Yeah. It's like not a single guy they commented on these videos had one thing to say in her defense.
Wow.
It's like any guy in the world that does not condone domestic abuse just kept their mouth shut.
Yeah.
And it's like infuriating because you're like, dude, everybody's asking for like the other side. What do you mean the other side?
Yeah.
There is no other side, dude. You don't lay hands on a woman.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? So, I mean, and if you saw some of the comments, bro, I had to actually stay off. And I'm on all the time for the podcast. Mm-hmm. I had to stay off for like longer periods of time.
Like, I've seen a minute.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm going to wind up getting canceled before I even start because I'm going to rip some of the pieces.
It's like you'll go and click on the people that are commenting though, and it's like they're definitely like sitting in their basement like playing video games. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
it's
for
not
sure.
Like somebody that's like
most
established.
of them are private accounts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I think I made a comment like that. I said, dude, you're like a 15-year-old with a Mountain Dew and Fruit Loops at your computer. I'm like, that's exactly who you are.
Yeah. Great. We're gonna take advice from you.
Right. Exactly. Cool. But yeah, man, so I'm sure it's tough to deal with it. I would imagine. Was it tough for you to deal with some of the hatery, like the comments that people would leave?
No, absolutely not. No, I don't know. Maybe if it was happening in real time,
right?
But it's like at this point, I'm in pretty darn good shape. Like now, if I walk into a room, I'm like, yeah, I'm probably top 1% of people in here. So it doesn't really bother me that I used to look like that because I don't look like that anymore. So, and I never, even growing up being overweight, like I just must have had cool friends. Like no one ever made fun of me for being fat. So I don't know. Maybe it was just the era.
Were you ever posting were you ever posting real time?
I posted real time for 75 hard on my stories.
Okay.
And so like that stuff never lived to see more than 24 hours.
Right.
And no one typically comments, and most people that are watching your stories are people who follow you already.
Correct.
So you're not getting a lot of that outside viral hate. If you get any hate, I mean, honestly, the video that I have that has like 30,000 comments, I would say 99% of them are phenomenal. Like they're so amazing and genuinely kind.
That's great.
But no, like, I don't know. I've always had super thick skin. And really like nothing ever really makes me mad. So
that's good. No, I mean, listen, I have pretty thick skin too, but I do have certain lines, obviously, where things can definitely penetrate. And yeah, lately I feel like it's been happening a little bit more often than normal. But
so yeah, I guess I have thick skin for me.
Right.
Like if someone said something to her.
Yeah, it thins quick.
I'm like, you went after the guy recently. And
yeah, somebody left a comment on her saying she was ugly and had bad form. And I went in on the guy on the comment sections.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
He was in his basement eating Doritos.
Yeah, he looked like he ate Doritos for a living.
He's like, oh, she doesn't look that good. Her form's bad. I'm like, have you ever done a squat other than pooping? Like,
seriously, other than to get down to the bowl.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I know people are wild on social media. Man.
Yeah.
And no one has respect. It's just the things people will say when they're not face to face with you is still outrageous to me. And then to a woman to boot, it's like,
yeah, that's awful.
Really, dude?
The best though is like when people put the hate comments, it's amazing to watch how many people will just go and attack them for you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I had a lady that she basically said that my video that went viral, she's like, these type of videos exhaust me. And she like went on to say like, basically I just showed my transformation. I didn't show any of the hard work.
Right.
And you click on her page, like she was pretty big. She's like 100,000 followers and like she's into calisthenics.
Okay.
And so she just shows her calisthenics. Her whole page is just her doing calisthenics.
Right.
So I just responded. I said, hey, like, I'm sorry you took, 30 seconds to judge me off of one video. Like if you click on my actual page, you'll see every bit of blood, sweat, and tears that was put into this transformation because I have hundreds of videos that document me actually doing the work.
Right.
Whatever. But I think that has it's kind of like 500 or 600 comments replying to it, basically telling this lady just like, fuck off.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, because it's ridiculous because people don't ever watch things through and through or go investigate, right? Yeah. Like you see a clip, you'd think you dig deeper if it interests you on any level,
taken out of context.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Even the amount of energy just to respond to a long comment on something, like I don't have that much energy, especially not to do a negative one.
Right.
Like,
absolutely.
That's just a lot.
So no, man, it's great that you've had that success. So what's interesting? So you had told me actually, did you drop out of 3 colleges? Did you tell me that?
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Wow, I forgot about that part of my life.
Well, I asked because obviously you've had a great deal of success, right? A lot of people put a lot of pressure on school. But it goes to show that just because you don't have a college degree or you drop out doesn't mean you can't be successful in life.
Yeah. No, so I started out, I wanted to be an attorney. And so I was going to business school. So like on that track, and about the first semester in, I was like, nope, this is not going to work for me. And so I dropped out, and it's funny. I was living at home at the time, and my parents still thought I was going to school. And one day I left for school, and what I would do is I'd leave for school and then I'd come back and go back to bed. Okay. And this one time my parents left, right? They left, I left for school. All right, they're gone. I came back, got in bed, and my mom forgot something. So she came home.
Oh, wow.
And my mom's like a saint. Like I've never really heard my mom raise her voice. Like my dad was always like the hammer in the house. And it's the only time I've ever heard my mom swear. It was basically just like, what are you doing here? And I was just like, well, kind of dropped out of college. Oh, and I remember she's like, well, you're gonna have to tell your dad. And it's funny because my mom dropped out of college with like 1 credit left to finish her degree. And she's very, very successful. And then my dad never went to school, and he's been super successful as well. They together have a massive business, and they've done really, really well. But it's funny, like she still knew that he wasn't going to be happy, or at least we both assumed he wasn't going to be happy about me dropping out of college. So I was like, all right, if I'm going to have to tell him, it needs to be in a public place. Right. So like we scheduled a meeting at the Burger King, just to make sure like no one was going to die. You know, like people are going to be around us. So no, honestly, my dad was like, I mean, he really didn't care. He was just like, oh, okay. Like we came all the way here for you to tell me that. Like, perfect. What's your plan? You going to go get a job?
Junior.
Right.
Yeah. So I did that. And then I actually moved to Australia not too long after that for school.
You mentioned.
That was one of those where Lauren was like, yeah, go. Like, it'll be great. And I think that she just thought she wasn't going to miss me. She's like, oh, like, I'll free him.
This was going to be like the breaking point of our relationship, because we had just graduated high school. And I was like, okay, like, why don't you go? I've known you since middle school. Maybe let's like figure this out. Like, it's going to go. It's fine. And then I was like, he left, and I was like,
she was devastated.
Oh, my world's ended. Oh my gosh.
So I was there for like 7 months. I was supposed to be there for 3 years. I came back for Christmas break. Okay. And then she basically was like, you can't go back. I'm like,
you can't leave me here.
You can't leave me here. I ended up dropping out of that school. And then I'd always cooked. I'd always done a lot of culinary stuff. And so I was just like, maybe I'll try culinary school. So I did that for a semester too. Okay. And then I felt like I knew enough.
Right.
So I was just like, yeah, this is wasting my time too. So those are my 3 experiences with college. Never made it past a semester on any of those ventures. It's interesting because I love to learn.
Yeah.
So like if I'm into something, I will literally spend hundreds of hours figuring it out. But it's kind of be on my own term of like, hey, I want to learn this. And it's got to be like, I'm a very visual audio learner.
Yeah. I agree. So am I. I agree. It's honestly, it's weird. It doesn't mean you're not a good learner, right? Just because you don't do well in college.
Yeah.
There's such a broad knowledge, right, that you have to have when you're in college. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean you can't learn something. Yes. And I'll be honest, there'd be a lot more people in some of these jobs with or without college, right?
Like any of the companies you'd want to work for today, like most of them don't care about college degrees and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, if you're capable of learning something and learning it, it's better than anybody else. What difference does it make? What difference does the piece of paper make? You know what I think they see from college is they gauge someone's ability to conform and fall in line. I think that's what it does. It shows that you can deal with structure.
Yeah. And a lot of companies nowadays don't want that.
Right. Well, they want to train you themselves.
Because they're like, what have you been brainwashed to think?
Isn't it crazy how the coin flipped though?
Yeah.
Yes.
They used to put like
very
back.
Much so.
When I dropped out of college, like we're both 36. Like my generation was like, you went to college. Like, like our age group was like, wait, you're dropping out of school. Like that was such a big,
and even at one point, like I'm a nurse. My dad's an attorney. Like my family was very like, you go to school in college and you get a job and you work. And so we were dating and both of our families are friends and still are, which is a very unique situation. Yeah. But they had known each other and they were like, man, like my family was like, Jeffrey's just such a great guy. Like we really like him, but like, is this for you, you know? And now like we laugh about it now, because he's very successful. We've gotten very far in life, and had such a great relationship, but as a parent, in that generation, it was kind of like, whoa, okay, you're going to marry somebody that dropped out of college.
Oh yeah. Well, that's our generation. I mean, there was so much emphasis put on it, And
now I feel like even with our kids, like we have that discussion, but like even like some of my friends, I see them being very like, oh, we want our kids to go to this college because that's where we went to school. And I'm like, what? Like if my kid needs a paper like for law, medical, or something like that, absolutely. You have to have the knowledge and training. But
absolutely.
Like beyond that, like, wow, we have learned so much more by just watching YouTube, and actually like doing the thing.
Of course. Well, we have so much more accessibility to information today than we ever did, so. And listen, I'm not a parent, so I don't really know. I mean, the one thing I don't agree with in parenting is I understand motivating your kids and pushing them to be good people and do the right thing. But when you start putting your own agenda on them, like to do certain things, I think you add pressure to kids that doesn't necessarily need to be there. You can teach your kids to do the right thing without saying, oh, I went here, so you have to do that. Like that's an unnecessary pressure, I feel like, to put on any child.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing you should be doing to your kids is teaching them how to be good humans.
Absolutely.
It's like, hey, be kind to everyone, Yeah. If you're a man, have some chivalry. Open the freaking door.
Absolutely.
Be a stud. But other than that, it's like, do whatever our kids want to do, we'll be supportive. I could care less if they go to college.
Doesn't it make you wonder though, considering most of the kids from today are our generation's kids, that they're all I feel like most of them are so fucked up. It's crazy, this generation.
Yeah.
Like you see what it's like. I mean, chivalry. I mean, good luck. I mean, are you kidding? I talk to women. I'm like, there's so many single women out there now. So many women that just don't even want to date. And I get it. I really do, because the dating pool is fucking hopeless.
We have boys. So I feel like as a boy mom, like I have felt like the last few years, I'm like, wow, there's so much against men and how men are responsible for everything. And, so like we talk with our kids about like, that like you've got to be a man, like that manhood and being a husband is a good thing. Like it don't allow somebody to tell you that being a man is bad. Like, yes, you need to be a good man. But there is so much for, like the feminine movement. And I know I'm like a woman and all the things, but also like men should be men and women should be women.
Yeah.
And so we just feel very passionate about that as well. Like even like little things, there's a book that I love and it's called Wild at Heart, and it's actually for men, but I encourage a lot of women to read it because it really does explain a man's heart.
Right.
And, you know, we're not in the country. We live at the beach, but there is like some country near us, and like we like to get outside.
We're a little redneck.
A little bit. But like boys need to be outside and like discover, and, you know, like even like in schools, like they cut like, you know, recess time and stuff like that. And like that's been wreaking havoc on boys, because for girls we can sit and you can tell us what to do all day long and we're gonna sit quietly, and like, but boys are just like, it's not what they're meant to do.
Right.
And so there's just many things that, you know, that is for a man's heart, and there's certain things that are for a woman's heart, and I feel very passionately about that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Listen, here's the thing. Or you just got to choose what you want to, you know, like can't have them both ways. Like if you're a feminist, that's fine. You want to go to work, you don't believe in traditional views.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just don't complain about it.
Yeah. Don't complain about it. You know what I mean? You can't look to have it both ways. And I think that's sometimes where the feminist movement loses its ground.
Right.
Is that there are women that want the best of both worlds. Yeah. But, you know, and then you get into a gray area, right? But you can't say that you want to be your independence and you want all of these things, but then you still want to be taken care of by somebody.
Yes.
And then only use it when it benefits you to use the argument. You know what I mean? So, you know, do you, be you, but just, you know, be you. Don't try to dip into both pots. Like it's one or the other, you know?
Sure.
So let me ask, what advice do you have for people that are struggling with weight?
You know, I would say if you're struggling, it's take immediate action. I think like we hit on earlier, I'll do it Monday. It's like, it's never going to be the right time.
Right.
Like if you are struggling, if you need to change your life, whether that's from an addiction, whether that's from being overweight, whether that's in a relationship, in a business, like there's never a good time to uproot everything and become a new person. Just like start now.
Right.
Find someone who's done what you've done and follow their lead. You know, like we put out a ton of free stuff on social media to give tips, and it's one of those things like the resources are out there. The biggest thing that I see is so many people act like they don't know what they need to do.
Right.
It's like everybody knows what they typically need to do. It's just, are you willing to do it? And that's where the disconnect is. Most people are just not willing to do the hard work.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing about bodybuilding and doing bodybuilding together has really like shown us that there's levels to doing the work, right? Like as your journey progresses, like you'll learn what you're capable of, and you're capable of way more than you ever thought you were.
I agree 100%. You're right. Most people just don't want to do it. What do we do to get people to want to do things more?
I think just having those tough conversations with people. Like a lot of times people say like, I just don't understand. Like, I wish I had your motivation. I'm like, I'm not motivated.
Right.
Like 99% of the time I don't want to do anything that I do. I'm just disciplined.
Yeah, for sure.
I like the gym, but like there's definitely more days of the week than there aren't that I'm like, I could definitely not go to the gym today. That would be nice. Or there's more times than not where like chicken, rice, and avocado doesn't sound as good as a pizza.
Right. Absolutely.
It doesn't mean that I don't have days where I break and I eat a pizza or I skip the gym.
Right.
It just means that like I stack more daily wins than losses.
Nobody likes to do things that are tough. It's not like people crave doing difficult things, right?
Yeah.
It's a behavior that you have to learn. Like,
and that is probably like the greatest skill is being someone who can do hard things and doing them at will when you don't want to.
Absolutely.
So like whether that's working out, whether that's just some sort of discipline, like cold plunging or things like that, like anything that's going to put you in a state where like you're consciously doing something you don't want to do is how you get better.
I can guarantee you the most successful people in the world at what they do things when they don't want to do them all the time.
Oh yeah.
Because if you don't do the hard things that you don't want to do, you're going to live a life that you don't want to live.
Absolutely.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
It's truly that simple. And that's honestly what doing bodybuilding with him kind of taught me, because I didn't do 75 hard. He kind of came home. He had gotten a new trainer who was a bodybuilder, pro bodybuilder. And I literally said to him at one point, I was like, you're not like thinking you're gonna like do that thing, right? Like, we're not going that route, you know, like I know like we're not gonna go that way. And he was like, no, I don't think so. And then about a couple weeks later, he goes, I think I'm gonna do the thing. And I'm like, we're gonna do bodybuilding, you know? And so I ended up like watching him do his first show. And on the way down, I jokingly said, well, if you win this, because if he won that, he would be in the championship show in October. And at the time I was working out in like a group fitness for like HIIT workout and loving it. I was like posting on social media every day, my workouts, and people were like, oh, I love it. You know, like, okay, this is cool. And so on the way down, I jokingly said in the car, I was like, well, if you win your show tomorrow, then I will start doing bodybuilding and then I'll compete in bikini in October. Thinking like, I don't know who's going to be the competition. I mean, he looked good, right? He looked good, but I was like, I don't really know. And so he stepped off stage and he and our coach stepped off and they handed me the trophy and they were like, you're next. And I was like, oh shit, I said that.
That's right. You did win. Congrats, by the way. That was last year, right?
Yeah. So last April, I competed in summer shredding, which if you are in the fitness space and you are looking to compete or have had thoughts of competing, summer shredding to me is probably one of the coolest experiences that I've ever done. They're essentially a bodybuilding league that's created by Christian Guzman, who owns Alpha Elite Athletics.
Right.
And the thing I love about them is it has a massive focus on transformation. So traditional bodybuilding, like you have the NPC, which is like the league that allows you to qualify to be a pro. So you have the IFBB Pro League, you know, Mr. Olympia, like all of that stuff. Summer shredding is kind of a spin-off of the NPC. And the thing that really separates them is their transformation category. And so it's allowing people to share their story. And I think obviously there's thousands of people in the world that have stories like mine. And what a cool place to be able to go and like showcase that and have all that inspiration. But then for your people who want to do bikini or wellness or figure, or for the guys, if you want to do men's physique or classic physique or open bodybuilding, it's such a cool atmosphere and environment. The NPC shows are great. And I've competed in them, but it's very like almost cold feeling and shut off. It's very like you're there by yourself. It's bodybuilding is, you know, they say it's an individual sport, but it's really a team sport because it takes a team around you to get it done. But even with your team around you, like it's a very like uninclusive environment when you go to these shows because everyone's so focused.
Cutthroat, what'd you say?
Yes, competitive.
And with summer shredding, while the competition is insane, right? Like the guy who won classic physique for the championship in summer shredding just became the youngest pro men's classic physique bodybuilder in history and will one day earn the title of Mr. Olympia. I have no doubt in my mind. His name's Anton and he's a freak. Like he literally looks insane. 19 years old.
Wow.
So the competition's insane at summer shredding, but they do such a really good job of building this community. And I think that is such a cool thing because in a sport that feels so lonely, you're now going into this where like, yeah, we all want to beat each other, but it's like we all are like going to create really cool relationships. And so they actually do where they have multiple shows throughout the year that you compete in as qualifiers. And then at the end of every year, they have a championship. And so last year was their first year doing that style. And actually creating the official league. And so I won, they did a show in Tampa. So I won the Tampa show, which qualified me for the championship in October. And then Lauren competed. They had a qualifier the day before. So she got to compete in that. So we prepped together, which was super, super cool.
That's awesome.
And interesting and exhausting. And it was fun because our kids got to watch us go through this really, really challenging thing. Right. And so every day, like we'd have to go do our cardio or we're eating our meals or we're dragging them to the gym on the weekend. You know, I would always just kind of paint this picture of like, hey, like it's going to be worth it because I'm going to win. And when I win, like you're going to come on stage with me. And that's such a cool thing to be able to do for your kids. But we finished prep and we left for Texas in October. And I had this moment where I was just like, oh shit. Like I've literally promised my kids like, hey, I'm going to win. And then you're going to come on stage. And I had this moment of like, what if I don't win? Like bodybuilding is such a subjective sport, right? It's not black and white. And so we went to the championship, and it was the first ever championship for summer shredding. And I ended up winning transformation, which was a really big deal. They had 5 shows throughout the year, so hundreds and hundreds of people competed.
Right.
And then they took the top 10 guys, and we all competed against each other. And I won that. Well, that also qualified me to compete for the overall championship spot.
Okay.
Where I competed against the guy who won men's physique, the guy who won classic, and the guy who won open. And so there was 4 of us on stage for the guys and 4 women on stage. And so we competed against each other. And I ended up winning that. So I became the first ever overall summer shredding champion. And it was such a cool moment because our kids were in bodybuilding suits.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they bum rushed the stage. So we have really cool pictures of us on stage. Lauren's on there, the kids all flexing, holding up the trophy. And that in itself has been such an amazing journey and such a wild ride. Because of that, I earned a full sponsorship through Alpha Elite.
That's awesome.
And so it's funny, 2 years ago, I started buying their clothes and I was spending an absurd amount of money every month. And she literally looked at me and she's like, you're going to need to figure out how to get sponsored by this company because you have a bad habit.
Seriously, right.
And so now we're super blessed that, you know, every month I get packages of new clothing. And
that's awesome.
We have a problem now where almost every month I'm like, gosh, we got to order more hangers because I don't have any hangers left. And now we have this box of clothes that's coming in. So just so many cool opportunities to be able to share the story and inspire people and help people. And so I'm really, really passionate about summer shredding and Alpha Elite, and they do such a good job creating this like inclusive environment for people who want to work really hard and show off what they've done.
Yeah, it's amazing. I would imagine having that camaraderie with the guys you compete against is nice.
For sure. And it's a very unique bond, especially in the transformation category.
Right.
Like a lot of those guys I'm still friends with, I talk to on a weekly basis through Instagram or text message. Yeah. And there are people like, I didn't know any of them when I met them. And then all of my Alpha Elite athletes, there's 40 of us total, and I become great friends with all of them. And just having that community. One of them just competed today. She's actually, her finals are tonight, in Charleston. And so like, we've been watching her on our phone while we were like at breakfast. And it's just like, it's really cool that the community that's kind of come out of it. So
yeah, that's awesome, man. Seriously. And I'm sure you guys have similar, you all know what it's like to go through the transformation. Yeah. So you have that bond, you know, and it's great that you can be supportive of each other while competing with each other at the same time.
Yeah, no
it's
doubt.
Rare in any sport. To have that, really, especially sports that are individual sports, because you really are just in it to beat everyone. So sitting there and bullshitting with them or having a friendship with them is the furthest thing from your mind at that point.
No doubt.
But that's awesome, man. Listen, keep doing what you're doing, dude. It's like I said, you have a great story. I loved it. It inspires me. And if I'm inspired, I know other people are, because I'm not easily inspired, actually. But yeah, man, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on. Do you want to shout out any of your sponsors though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say for us, so like we coach now. So our objective is to help people transform their lives. And so coaching has been a big thing for us. We coach lifestyle clients. So if you're looking to lose 10, 15 pounds, great. If you need to lose 150 pounds, great. Like we've kind of been through every part of that. And so we're happy to help anyone on their journey. And we actually just started coaching people to stage as well. So we have a couple clients competing this year. So we're really excited about that.
Awesome.
So probably the easiest way to reach out to us is Instagram. So my handle is @JeffreyJensen, and then Lauren's handle
is @Lauren B. Jensen.
So Instagram's a great place to connect with us. We also have our website, which is PARA transform.com. That's our coaching website. And then if you ever need any athletic clothing, Alpha Elite Athletics is by far an amazing brand. I've been buying them way before they gave me any clothing for free or paid me. But you can save 10% code Jeffrey at checkout. And then I actually just signed with First Form, which is Andy Frisella's company. So that very full circle moment for me. I was just on his podcast. His program literally started my journey. It changed my life, and his company has been a massive role in my weight loss. I've been using their supplements for over 3 years without ever thinking that I would have the opportunity to meet him or be a part of their company or anything like that. And so First Form, huge supporter of them. We don't have codes for that, but send me a message on Instagram. I'll send you a link. And we appreciate you having us on. It's been super fun, and and been awesome.
My pleasure, man. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to need that discount code, by the way.
I'll get you the discount code. One last thing that I forgot, I always forget it. But if you are in the Carolinas, 212 Meal Prep. So our baby, the company that we actually own, makes delicious, healthy food. So if you're in Charlotte, North Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, Wilmington, or Raleigh, because we're getting ready to open Raleigh.
Okay.
You can order 212 at 212meals.com. So great place to start your journey if you need help with food.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us as usual. Continue to keep giving us your feedback. You know, we enjoy it. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Lauren, for joining us. It was our pleasure to have you today. Be sure to check them out on IG. You can check out Jeffrey at Jeffrey Jensen and his wife, Lauren, at Lauren B. Jensen. And that's on IG. And if you are in the Carolinas, be sure to check out their meal prep company, 212 Meal Prep. From what I understand, I'll never be able to try them, but they are amazing meals to start your fitness journey on. So thank you guys. Peace out. Appreciate you.